What are we doing, Ryan?
I need you to tell me what this means.
I don't know if I can do this right now, Em.
The moment Emily asked, "Can we talk alone?" something inside Ryan tightened. Her voice was soft, almost unsteady, and it didn't match the bright evening around them. They were standing on the back porch of the restaurant after her birthday dinner, the sound of cars passing on Maple Street fading behind the closing door. Emily had never sounded like that before. Not to him. Not in all the years he'd known her. Ryan wasn't sure why his chest felt warm and heavy at the same time. Maybe it was because Emily wasn't just anyone. She was the daughter of his closest friend, Daniel. He'd watched her grow from a quiet, stubborn kid into a confident 24-year-old woman who carried sunlight in her smile. And he was 40, old enough to know better than to react to the way her eyes held his just a second too long these days. He nodded, trying to keep his voice even. "Yeah, sure. What's going on?" Emily leaned against the railing, drawing in a slow breath. The streetlights cast a soft glow across her face, making her look fragile in a way he rarely saw. Her fingers fidgeted with the silver bracelet on her wrist, the one he'd given her when she graduated last year. He'd bought it just to celebrate her achievement, nothing more. At least that's what he told himself. "You've been distant," she said quietly. "Different. It feels like you're avoiding me." Ryan swallowed, looking away toward the empty parking lot. The cool air brushed against his neck, but it didn't help. "I've been busy with work," he said, though even he heard the weakness in his excuse. Emily studied him for a long moment. "That's not it." "Not really." He tried to smile, to keep things light, to slip away from the storm forming between them. But Emily stepped closer, and her nearness made everything inside him go still. She wasn't a child anymore. She wasn't someone who needed protecting. She was a woman looking at him as if she saw every truth he tried to hide. "Then what is it?" she asked. "Did I do something?" Her voice cracked on the last word, and something in him broke. He couldn't stand seeing her hurt. Not because of him. The ride home felt like a quiet storm waiting to break. Emily sat in the back seat of her father's car, staring out the window, her reflection trembling in the passing lights of the city. Ryan sat in the passenger seat beside Daniel, answering small talk with short, stiff replies. Every breath felt too loud. Every second replayed the moment she whispered, "We'll finish this later." Daniel didn't catch the tension, but he sensed something was off. "You two okay?" he asked lightly. "You disappeared out back for a while." Ryan forced a chuckle. "Just talking about her job," he lied. Emily didn't speak. When Ryan glanced at her through the mirror, she didn't look away. She held his eyes, her expression calm, but full of something he didn't dare interpret. When they arrived at Daniel's house, Emily got out first. She walked ahead without waiting, her steps quick, her hair swaying behind her like she needed to escape before her thoughts spilled out. Daniel went inside to grab a gift bag he'd forgotten at the restaurant, leaving Ryan and Emily alone in the quiet front yard. Ryan stepped toward her. "Emily." She turned, anger and hurt mixing in her eyes. "Why do you keep running from me?" "I'm not running." His voice was weary, tight. "I'm doing the right thing." "For who?" she asked. "For my dad? For the world? Or for yourself?" He opened his mouth, but no answer came. Because the truth was he wasn't sure anymore. He only knew that being near her felt dangerous. Not because she would hurt him, but because he could so easily fall into something he wasn't supposed to feel. Emily took a breath, stepping closer until she was only inches away. "You think I don't know what I'm doing? You think I'm a kid?" He shook his head quickly. "No, you're not. That's the problem." Her eyes softened. "Ryan, I'm not confused about what I feel." He felt the ground shift under him. "Emily, don't say things you'll regret." "I won't regret the truth," she murmured. "I care about you. More than I should. And I know you feel something too, no matter how much you pretend you don't." A sharp sound broke the air, the front door opening again. Daniel stepped outside holding the gift bag, smiling. "Got it. Sorry for the delay." Emily's expression changed instantly, but not because of guilt. She didn't move away from Ryan. She didn't hide. She simply turned toward her father, steady and composed. Dad, she said gently, Ryan and I were in the middle of something. Can you give us a minute? Daniel blinked, surprised. Sure. I'll be inside. As he went back in, Ryan felt cold panic rise in his chest. Emily wasn't afraid anymore. She wasn't hesitating. She was stepping into something he'd spent months fighting against. Emily, he said, dragging a hand through his hair. You can't tell him anything. This isn't. I'm not telling him anything, she said softly. I'm telling you something. She stepped closer again. You think this is about age, or rules, or expectations. But what if it's just about two people who feel something they didn't plan for? He clenched his jaw. Even if that's true, it doesn't mean we should act on it. Then answer me honestly, she whispered. Do you feel something for me or not? Ryan felt the question slice straight through the wall he'd kept up for months. The yard lights glowed around her, catching the gold in her eyes. She wasn't asking to hurt him. She was asking because she deserved to know. But honesty was a line he didn't know how to cross. Before he could speak, he heard the sound of a phone buzzing from inside the house. Daniel calling out. A sudden urgency. Footsteps rushing. Then the door swung open, and Daniel's voice trembled with worry. Ryan, your brother just called. It's an emergency. You need to get to the hospital. The world froze. Emily's eyes widened, all emotion replaced with fear. Go, she whispered. And Ryan ran. Ryan reached the hospital breathless, his chest pounding as he hurried through the sliding doors. The bright lights, the antiseptic smell, the echo of hurried footsteps, everything blended into a blur. A nurse pointed him toward the third floor, where his younger brother, Mark, had been taken after collapsing at work. When Ryan found him, Mark was awake but pale, hooked to monitors that beeped softly in the dim room. The doctor explained it had been a severe stress-related episode. Not life-threatening, but a warning. Mark needed rest, care, and someone watching over him. Relief washed over Ryan so hard his knees weakened. He stayed with Mark for hours, helping him drink water, talking about nothing and everything, trying to quiet the storm inside him. But even in the silence of that hospital room, Emily's voice kept echoing in his mind. Do you feel something for me or not? It had lodged itself deep, refusing to leave. By the time Mark fell asleep and Ryan stepped outside to breathe, the night had turned cold. He leaned against the wall of the hospital entrance, closing his eyes, exhausted in ways he couldn't describe. That's when he felt a familiar presence. Emily. She stood a few feet away, her hair swept by the night breeze, worry etched into her features. I called your dad, she said softly. He told me which hospital. She stepped closer. I had to make sure you were okay. He exhaled, the tension in him easing at the sight of her. Mark's going to be fine. Just a scare. Emily nodded, but her eyes stayed on him. You look tired. I am, he admitted. But it wasn't just the night. It was everything. The fight inside him. The truth he kept swallowing. The fear of breaking something that mattered. Emily hesitated, then reached for his hand. He didn't pull back. Ryan, she said softly. Before tonight, I thought maybe I was imagining the way you look at me. But I'm not imagining this. Her fingers tightened gently around his. You care, and you're scared to say it. He swallowed, his voice rough. Emily, your dad trusts me. If I cross that line, you're not crossing anything, she whispered. You're being honest. He looked down at their hands. Her warmth, her steadiness, the way she wasn't afraid of the world, or the rules, or the gap between their ages. She only feared losing what she felt. And the truth he'd been running from suddenly felt impossible to deny. Emily, he began, his voice low. I care about you more than I should. More than I meant to. You're the last person I should let myself feel anything for. Her eyes softened with hope. But you do. He let out a long breath, the confession breaking free at last. Yeah, I do. It felt like stepping off a cliff and finally finding solid ground beneath him. Emily moved closer, her voice trembling with relief. Thank you. I needed to hear it. I didn't want to keep wondering. Ryan cupped her face gently, brushing his thumb along her cheek. I don't know where this goes, he said honestly. I don't know how your dad will take it, or what people will say. She leaned into his touch. We'll figure it out. Together. For a moment, the world around them faded. The hospital lights, the distant sirens, the cold night air. Everything quieted except the steady, warm truth between them. Ryan pulled her closer, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. It wasn't a promise, but it was an answer. A beginning. Emily wrapped her arms around him, holding him the way someone holds something they're not willing to lose again. What happens now? She whispered against his chest. Ryan closed his eyes, resting his chin on her hair. Now, he said gently, we stop running from the truth, and we take the next step, one at a time. She smiled against him, and for the first time in months, he felt the weight lift from his shoulders. The night no longer felt cold. It felt like the start of something neither of them had planned for, something real, fragile,